ඇති. එවැනි වෙළඳ බාන්දක ප්‍රමාණිකූල ඉවත් කිරීම නිසා බලපෑමට ලක්වන කර්මාන්ත හා සේවකයන්ට සහාය වීම සඳහා වෙළඳ කැලපුන් වැඩසටහනක් ට්‍රේඩ් ඇඩ්ජස්ට්මන්ට් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් හඳුන්වා දෙන අතර එය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනු ඇත. 2018 දී සියලු පාර්ශ්වකරුවන්ගේ සම්මතිය මගින් අපනයන සංවර්ධනය කෙරෙහි විශේෂ අවධානයක් යොමු කරමින් සකස් කරන ලද රාමුවක් වන ජාතික අපනයන උපාමාර්ගයට රජය සහාය ලබා දෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම අග්නින ආසියා කලාපයට සිදු කරන අපනයන වර්ධනය සඳහා කලාපි වටිනාකම් දාමයන් වෙත සම්බන්ධ වීමට පුළුල් කලාපීය වෙළඳ කිවිසුම් ඇති කර ගැනීමේ උත්සාහයක් අපි නැවත ආරම්භ කරනවා. අවශ්‍ය ඉඩම් ලබා දීමෙන් සහ විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ අදාළ මෙහෙයුම් ප්‍රතිව්‍යුහගත කිරීම තුළින් විදුලි බලය ලබා ගැනීමේ හැකියාව ඉහළ නැංවීම සහ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ බලශක්ති උත්පාදන පිරිය අඩු කිරීම සඳහා පුනර්ජනනීය බලශක්ති ප්‍රවාහයන් පුළු කිරීමට රජය පහසුකම් සපයනවා. ඉඩම් වලින් 80% පමණ හිමිකරු රජය වන අතර දේශීය හා විදේශීය ආයෝජන සඳහා සුදුසු උපයෝගීතා සහිතව ඉඩම් සඳහා අවශ්‍ය පහසුකම් සැලසීමට පියවරගෙන ලබනවා. එමෙන්ම විවිධ දීමනා පත්‍ර වලින් ලබා දීමේ තිබෙන ඉඩම් වල සින්නක්කර ඔප්පු ක්‍රමයක් සකස් කරනවා.
See you soon with more stories after this short commercial break.
More data when you stay and use more. Data Bow One, data Bow One.
A non-stop journey with Data Bow One from SLT Mobitel Home Broadband.
Welcome back. This is State of Business. Now, the Samagga Jana Balawega yesterday welcomed the interim budget, saying it contained several progressive measures, but questioned rollout of reforms given Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna reservations. SJB MP Dr. Harsh De Silva, addressing a press briefing, noted that several key reforms had been presented as urgent measures.
Amendments to the appropriation bill today, the President presented in his capacity as the Minister of Finance. In fact, it is progressive. We can't hide behind the fact that we are in the opposition and say it is an absolute empty budget, like my colleague Eran Vikramatne explained. Ideas are very positive. Things that need to be done have been mentioned as urgent measures, particularly on multitude of reforms that needs to happen. The question is whether the support to opposition, or rather the support to a government who's been opposed to all these amendments in the past, whether they would support these reforms to go through. So we will have to wait and see, because there hasn't been much discussion on how these proposals are to be implemented. Now, on the technical side of things, what we see is the revenue is only increasing minimally, while the expenditure is expanding in a huge way. You see, because not only due to the additional expenses in trying to deal with the difficulties faced by the low-income people, but also interest costs has gone up in leaps and bounds, because at the time when Basil Rajapaksa presented the first budget, or the 22's original budget, interest rates were something like 8%. Now interest rates are something like 30%. So there's been a massive increase in the interest cost.
Meanwhile, earnings from the merchandise exports increased 2.25% year-on-year to $1,128.7 million in July 2022, as per the data released by the Sri Lanka Customs. This was mainly due to the increase in earnings from export of apparel and textiles. Major product sectors except rubber-based products, coconut-based products and spices and concentrates, apparel and textiles, tea, electrical and electronic components, diamonds, gems and jewellery and food and beverages recorded increased exports in July 2022. For the period of January to July 2022, merchandise exports increased 11.8% to $7,604.12 million compared to the corresponding period of 2021. Major product sectors except tea, rubber-based products and spices and concentrates, apparel and textiles, coconut-based products, electronics and electronic components, gems and jewellery, food and beverages and seafood recorded increased exports. Strong export growth recorded for top 10 export markets in the period of January to July 2022. The single largest export destination of the United States of America recorded $1,988.43 million in exports during the period from January to July 2022. Exports to the United Kingdom as the second largest trading partner recorded an increase of 14.59% to $602.01 million during the period of January to July 2022 compared with the corresponding period in the previous year. During the period of January to July 2022, exports to free trade agreement partners accounting for 7.2% of total merchandise exports increased 13.73% to $547.4 million. Although exports to India increased 16.6% year-on-year to $500.75 million, exports to Pakistan decreased 10.02% to $46.65 million during the period of January to July 2022 compared with the corresponding period in 2021. On a region-wise comparison, exports to all regions except CIS countries increased during the period of January to July 2022 compared with the corresponding period of 2021. The estimated value of services exports for the period of January to July 2022 was $1,146 million, increasing 5.39% over the corresponding period of 2021. The services exports estimated by EDB consists of ICT, BPM, construction, financial services, and transport and logistics. Now, the government of Sri Lanka and UNDP in Sri Lanka yesterday announced the launch of the Sri Lanka SDG Investor Map. The map is a market intelligence tool that seeks to direct private capital where Sri Lanka's sustainable development goals, priorities, government policy and market opportunity intersect. Sri Lanka seeks to rebuild its economy sustainably using the SDG framework as its guide. The methodology for the map was created by UNDP SDG Impact. Like many other countries, the Sri Lankan economy was also impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, with GDP growth contracting 3.6% in 2020 with a significant slowdown in tourism earnings, which is the key source of dollar income for the country. Sri Lanka is building pathways to recover from its double crisis of soaring debt and a balance of payment crisis, making it difficult to import essential items such as medicines, fuel and food. While Sri Lanka is pursuing an IMF program to stabilize its macroeconomy and restructure its external debt, private capital, foreign direct investments, blended finance options, and public-private partnerships are all needed. The SDG Investor Map will be of importance when channeling these funds to investments for social and environmental objectives towards green development, women's economic empowerment, social sector development. The map will be a crucial tool to accelerate Sri Lanka's recovery pathway and build forward better. The map can be used by investors wishing to explore Sri Lanka as an investment destination while also rendering benefits for local communities and the environment. Enterprises that want to adjust their business strategy towards inclusive models and are seeking market intelligence and investment rationale to validate their approach. Government agencies seeking to address entry-level barriers for the private sector and to build an amenable ecosystem for the development of SDG-enabling sectors. Through secondary research and over 50 consultations with public and private sector organizations, the map has identified 15 investment opportunity areas covering investment themes and business models across 5 SDG priority sectors. These sectors include renewable energy, healthcare, infrastructure, food and beverages, and consumer goods. At the event, UNDP called on the private sector to adopt the SDG impact standards, the independent and global management standards that guide businesses and investors in their decisions to optimize interrelated economic, social, and environmental impacts. Stay tuned for stock updates.
extra GB. Check data usage. Pay bills. Report faults.
Download today. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
Welcome back. This is State of Business and now stock updates. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on positive notes today. The Osha Price Index gained 205.92 points to close at 9,071.32 and the S&P 20 gained 66.22 points to close at 2,928.97. The turnover was 4.2 billion rupees and over 134 million shares were traded. Coming up next are Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap from today's edition of State of Business. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.